So in November 13 of 1974, 23-year-old Ronald DeFeo Jr. killed his entire freaking family while they slept, and then he claimed demons made him do it. This is the story of the Amityville Horror.
Hi, sister. How are you?
Hi, sis. So, people, welcome to another episode of Café con Leche. I am your host, Maddy, and this is my very special guest, my sister.
Hi, everyone.
So
cool.
You hear that thunder in the back?
Yes.
I'm going to lower it while we communicate. I'm going to leave it running real low in the background. But of course, if you're joining us, it's 11 o'clock in the morning, right? It's Saturday. Make sure you have your Café con Leche.
Yes.
I'm boring. I always have coffee. It's a caramel macchiato. I can't help it.
Yeah, that's your favorite,
right?
Yeah.
I just stick to it. What kind of coffee is your favorite, sis?
Nah, iced coffee, flavored iced coffee. It could be French or hazelnut. My favorite.
Awesome.
So I can drink iced coffee even in the winter.
Even in the winter. I mean,
even in the winter, I'm crazy like that.
We'll see, because it's getting cold and I'm having a harder and harder time. But
yeah, no, I could do right through a snowstorm. Like I've literally gone out and gotten iced coffee in the middle of winter.
Oh, you're brave.
Crazy. Yes. Absolutely.
Well, guys, if you're in here, this is the 4th episode of my show, but it is the 3rd of the paranormal series that I'm doing for Halloween. If you missed the first 2 episodes, it was about 2 stories that happened to me. This episode is going to be revolving around the Amityville Horror, the true story behind the movie, and the true story behind the Exorcist movie. And there'll be a little plus in the end about something that happened to us and a group of other people with the Exorcist. And also, the following episode will be about the scariest experiences that my sister has had and I have had individually regarding paranormal experiences, because we did grow up in a haunted apartment, which is
we did.
We did. It was
as crazy as it sounds, but we did. We certainly did.
And somehow we still love horror movies. I don't know.
We're crazy like that.
We are a little.
We're crazy. Yeah. You would think we would want nothing to do with horror movies, but yeah, here we are. Like I love
my favorite genre.
It is my favorite genre. Books and movies, especially the ones. I don't get spooked with the ones that you see, like the creatures and all that. I'm always terrified of what you can't see.
Exactly.
I think that's what really gets me.
Paranormal ghost type of things. And I think those are the things that creep us out, particularly because those are the things that we've experienced.
Exactly.
And, you know, I'm not asking anybody out here to believe what we have to say. It's our truth. We really did experience these things. And, you know, if I hadn't experienced them, I'd probably be a little skeptical about it too. But I have. And so whenever anybody tells me one of their stories, I believe them because I went through something like that.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
But today we are going to be kicking off the conversation regarding the Amityville Horror. We're going to start with that one. This is what all of you guys know, I think, when you hear about the Amityville Horror, because it was a very popular movie. And I'm not a fan of the remake. I love Ryan Reynolds, but to me, the original is the one. Not part 2, not part 3. Part 2 was a prequel to part 1, which actually told the story of the murders that took place, which is what we are covering. And before we continue, viewer discretion is advised. I do curse a lot, and some of the images and some of the content is definitely not for children. With that, let's get started. So, little background information regarding the Amityville Horror. So, murder, which is what actually happened. So, this is the original house, which is actually located on 112 Ocean Avenue, Amityville, New York. That is actually the original address. What happens in this house that you're looking at is a huge murder. The eldest son of a family of 8 went, shot, and killed his entire family. That's his 2 siblings. His 4 siblings and his 2 parents. Here's a picture of the family. So the murderer, who claims that he was told to do it by demons, is all the way on the bottom right. That is Ronald DeFale Jr. And his siblings are to his left. He had 2 sisters and 2 brothers, all dead. All of them. So this is how the story actually took place. Ready, sis? I don't know if you know it all. I actually found out about this. Yeah. So here we go. So initially, after he went and he killed his entire family with a .35 caliber Marlin rifle, he initially claimed that it had been a mob hit. So he actually, after he killed his family, he took a shower, he cleaned himself off, and he got rid of all the evidence. And then much later, he went to a bar begging for help, that someone had killed his family, and he claimed that it was a mob hit. But after the police, took him into protective custody, because they were like, oh my God, you got mob hit and you're still alive. Right? Like, let's try to save you. So they take him to the precinct, where eventually he confesses that, no, it wasn't a mob hit. It was me. But demons made me do it. So apparently, according to records, he had a really bad relationship with his dad. His dad was super, super abusive to the family, and he took out most of his frustrations on his eldest son, DeFale Jr. But DeFale Jr. had also been bullied in school. These are things that I did not know until I started searching it.
I was not aware of this.
Right?
No.
The stuff you find out when you start looking through stuff. So then DeFale Jr. was actually being bullied in school for being overweight, and he had been called names like pork chop and blob. Isn't that horrible?
That is terrible. Bullying is horrible.
It is. And then so you're dealing with this in school, you're dealing with this at home. Eventually he ended up losing weight, but it was because of amphetamines and alcohol, which also ended up becoming coping mechanisms for him. So long story short, this is what happened to this family, and that is where the Amityville Horror movie came from. This is DeFale Jr. after being arrested for the murders. And again, I'm about to show an image that is not for children. This is the actual picture of the parents shot dead in their bed. So that is a crime scene photo. That is creepy as fuck. You're in your house, you're sleeping with your family, and one of your siblings comes and decides to decimate your entire family. So
that's insane.
I don't know. Do you believe that demons made him do it? I wouldn't have until the next family moved in, which is what the movie is actually about.
And that's the main thing there. It's what happened to the family,
the Lutz,
after they move in, the Lutz.
Yes.
It's just
scary.
It's really horrifying, because it seems that, the residual of what he did, whether or not he was telling the truth,
right,
but all the the residual of such an evil doing on his behalf, murdering his wife, all that remain in the house.
Exactly. Because I do believe like in energies and spirits. So when I read that the father was abusive, I was like, that was kind of like our thing too. Our dad was pretty fucking abusive. Like,
yeah, absolutely. All that negative energy in your house, it's, it draws negative things in. And I think that that's what happened. Like, we'll never know if it was true or not, what he said, his claims on why he did what he did. But the actions that he, the murders that he did, he killed his entire family, in their home, all that is what remained behind, and all that residual negative energy, his horrible childhood, his, all those things. I think it's a culmination of
yes,
what was left in that home that affected the family that moved in afterwards.
Exactly. So what happened after was, a year after those murders, a new family, the Lutzes, which they were a married couple with children, they moved into the house, and 28 days later, this is the claim, this is the report, 28 days later, they left with nothing. They left all their possessions behind, and they just booked it. From the moment that murder happened, there have been 4 different families who have lived there, and including one family, which is the current owner, I believe. They bought the house in February of 2017. They requested an address change. So 112 Ocean Avenue, that address no longer exists. The house is still standing, but it has been completely remodeled. The 2 iconic windows that looked like eyes have
been eyes. Yeah, the creepy.
Yeah, they've been replaced. So the house does not even look the same anymore. And they bought the house at $605,000, $200,000 below asking price, because to this day, its history, precedes it. So if people are just like, I'm going to get the house, but you are going to give me a discount. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't buy it for $1. I wouldn't want it free.
I wouldn't want it if you paid me.
Yeah, like I would pay you. Yeah, like, let me give you $1 million and you can take. I'm like, no, thank you. It's all right. I'll pass. I'm good. I'm good.
I'm not living in it.
I wouldn't want anything to do with it. I wouldn't even want it like the deeds or my name to be under that house. Like nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing.
And I think the other thing that the people that lived there were dealing with was the people that would come to sightsee, because this became a tourist attraction. This was in Long Island.
Exactly.
So that is why the address got changed. But it's public. So now people go to 108.
Exactly. They know where it's at, the house, no matter, even if they changed it, everybody knows. They might have changed the windows, but
yeah, they changed the windows so that
everybody knows where that house is.
Yeah, they changed these windows, these 2 windows. So those 2 windows sit off of a balcony. So those 2 windows no longer exist.
Those are creepy ass windows.
Those are creepy ass windows, and they probably wouldn't look so creepy if it wasn't connected to the story behind it.
I don't know. It looks creepy to me. I wouldn't like. Yeah, I don't like.
In the comments.
I don't like houses with attics or basements.
God damn! You don't. I mean, most houses have at least one or the other. My house has both. We don't go into the attic because it's a crawl up attic, and it's one of those attics where you have to like move. You've seen Paranormal Activity?
Yeah.
Like that. You have to. It's it's in a closet, and you have to like move the thing.
Sis, you didn't even tell me that. I didn't know your house had an attic.
I've never been up there.
That's a good thing.
I don't know what it is.
No, but all that aside, your basement is gorgeous. Like, you have a beautiful finished basement. Your basement is great.
It's not fully finished.
It's not like a creepy basement. No, not what people associate with oh my God, I'm not going down their basement. No, not at all. At all.
Like if the entire basement looked the way the HVAC system area was, because that's like a little separate room that's not finished. if the whole basement looked like that, I would not be in the basement. Like
exactly. No, but the main area in the basement, like the floors are like what, like linoleum. I mean, it's a beautiful finished basement. It's very nice. Anybody can comfortably, sleep there. Have fine. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't. I mean, no, it doesn't have that creepy.
No,
at all. Not at all.
No, I don't get a creepy vibe from my house. And quite frankly, after our father passed away, or after he moved out of the apartment when he went into the home, I think all the evil negative shit kind of fell apart. Like I just don't feel anything in that apartment anymore. And that apartment is still in the family. So, we can attest that whatever was going on there is gone. So, but anyway, that was the Amityville background. Let me know what you guys think. It's a real complicated story, but there'll be some links. There are links in the description for you to click on and read some more about the Amityville Horror and Actual Murders, which was what the movie came from. So I hope you enjoyed that. But now we're moving on to The Exorcist. So everyone knows about the movie The Exorcist, but not everyone knows that it was actually based off of a young boy who was aged 14, who was actually possessed and was originally assigned the pseudonym Roland Doe. He was later identified as Ronald Hinkler of Cottage City, Maryland, which in 1949, he was said to be possessed and went through a grueling long exorcism. And that is where The Exorcist derives from. This is the story behind The Exorcist. All right. So,
The Exorcist. Whoa.
The Exorcist. So that movie, really, really quick before we get into the background of this and where this actually came from, I am legit still terrified of this movie. And I can watch it.
Me too. No, I can't.
I can watch it, but I can't sleep that night. So let's just put it like that. I'll definitely have night lights that I have to turn on if I do watch it.
I don't watch it.
Do you remember long time ago when were we still living in Mom's? I think we still were. And we tried to watch it in my room, the one that was off the kitchen. And when we got to the part where her throat was expanding, we just turned it off and said, nope.
Yep. We were deaf. I totally remember it. We were watching it, and as soon as like that part that she looks like she has like her throat went up. Ooh, I was like, okay, that's it. Bye.
We were like, click. And we turned off the VHS. And yes, I said VHS because
we're that old.
All right. So
we clicked that sucker off. Like click.
Turned it off, and we got another little story regarding a VHS.
Oh, yes.
After we talk about the true story behind the very iconic and popular movie and scary as fuck movie, The Exorcist. So little background story. And in case you're wondering, yes, I have notes because this shit is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So supposedly, okay, this is the story of what was his name again? Oh my God, I just lost it. Ronald Hinkler. Okay.
Ronald Hinkler, yes.
Hinkler, yes. So Ronald Hinkler of Cottage City, Maryland, he was 14 years old when his ordeal began. And the story goes that Hinkler had shown some interest in the supernatural, and his aunt, who happened to be spiritual and a spiritualist, decided to get him an Ouija board.
Yeah. Excellent on that. Nope.
And shortly after or a little time after, his aunt passed away, and they started experiencing paranormal activities. All of a sudden, these things started happening, and it ranged from vibrations and strange noises and flying objects and levitation. The violence, the guttural voices, and the revulsion for sacred items that was displayed in the movie, those things were also inspired by the true story that happened to this guy. So all those things, the vibrations, strange noises, flying objects, levitation, the violence, the guttural voices, and the revulsions for sacred items, all were inspired by the real true story of what happened to Hunkler. Now, in the end, it seemed the exorcism was successful, as Ronald Hunkler supposedly went on to become a fine young man. That's what they say. You know how they use fine young man back in them days.
Yeah.
We got a picture of this fine young man. This is Ronald Hunkler. And he supposedly, it was rumored that he went to become a NASA engineer who actually helped with the supposed 1969 moon landing. And I say this, put them in quotes, the moon landing, because that's something that we will be covering in one future episode of this show as a conspiracy theory. The actual moon landing. Is it real?
The moon landing.
Did it happen? All right. And he lived just shy of 86 years old, and he died in 2020 of a stroke. So that is the story, the original story of where the Exorcist, where you know her to have been.
Oh my goodness!
Freaking you out, sis. This is
actually creepy.
Linda Blair. So Linda Blair played the Exorcist. Very iconic moment here. This is a levitation part in the movie where the priests are trying to exorcise this demon out of, Reagan, which was the name of the
girl.
Right. And and this is the actual real house of Hunkler. That is where a lot of the paranormal activity took place. Although later on, Hunkler was moved to a facility, I think in St. Louis, where he got the help he needed and everything turned out well. So, some parts that people don't know about the actual movie, because people who have been watching The Exorcist for however many years might not have known that this movie, even though it was always said based on a true story, was actually based on a guy, not a female.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? He was 14, not 12, as Reagan played. But there were parts in the movie that were embellished for the movie. So, for example, like the wall crawling, like the masturbation with the cross, that didn't happen. The head spinning, and the supposed X that appeared on her chest. That did not happen. So that's what was reported. Those things were embellished or added for the movie, for the sake of the movie, to make it more scary. But if you really start reading about Hunkler and the things that he supposedly went through, the movie did not need to be embellished, because that's just as scary as it is. Just
exactly.
All on its own. But hey, it made for the creepiest fucking movie, I think, to this day. And that's saying a lot, because it's been
it's a movie. I'm telling you, when I saw it, it was at home on TV, and it was being broadcast on, I can't even speak, on TV, and it was myself, my older brother, our cousins, a few of our cousins, and we were all there. So they were like spending the night there, and of course, our parents' mom, she puts on the movie.
Of course she does.
Of course she does. Like, why not? Hey, bunch of kids, why not? 70s, sure. We're elementary kids, school kids, why not? So we watched it, and I have to tell you, we were so terrified. None of us could sleep. Like, I remember mom having to pray with us in order for us to be able to fall asleep. That's how that went.
That's what the fuck y'all get.
That's how that night went. I remember one of my younger cousins, of course I won't mention any names, but one of my younger cousins, she was crying. And we have, like, how you sit with your knees and your, like curled up on the sofa. We were all like that. We were just absolutely terrified, but we were glued to the screen. Like kids. But let me tell you, when it came time for bed, mom had to pray with all of us. Yeah, that's how we managed to go to bed, because it was nuts. And mom's just sitting there watching it, like torturing us kids. Like, what's wrong with mom? Like, sometimes I wonder, she's like the sweetest things, but she's kind of, that was a little bit strange, because if that would have been now, I would have never shown that movie to my kids.
She might have not really known what was coming, but at the same time, remember, mom was not really scared of these things.
Yeah, that's the
thing.
They
were happening to her. She said exactly. She always said she's scared of the living, not the dead. So
yeah, but that movie, that's on another level, though. I mean, we have to be real,
especially if you're a child. Like,
if you're a child, that's really like a highly impressionable movie. Like, what?
I wasn't alive yet, y'all.
Yes,
because I'm the youngest of 4. So, but anyhow,
we got. You lucky.
I got lucky, I guess. I did see a lot of scary movies when I was a child. Like, I saw all the Freddy movies, all the Jason movies, all the Michael Myers movies. By the time I was 6, I knew about all that stuff. So yes, I was having nightmares nice and early. Something that people didn't know about the actual set was that they supposedly were dealing with what they called a curse, because the set had so many issues. And one of the things that happened that was pretty creepy is that 9 people affiliated with the film, whether they were actors or, part of the set or whatever, passed away during its production, including 2 of the actors that really passed away in the movie, passed away before the film came out, which was the old lady that played Father Kara's mother.
Oh yes, yes.
The one that goes, Timmy.
Yeah, Timmy, why you do this to me?
Yes.
Her. Yeah. Like, she wasn't creepy.
She passed away in real life before the movie came out. And Burt, the guy who played Burt Reynolds, the director in the movie, he dies in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, so he dies before the movie actually comes out in real life. There was a huge fire that took out the whole set, and they had to rebuild. At the end, so many things had happened that they actually called a priest to come and exorcise their.
I remember that. I remember hearing that.
That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, they said because they said basically the by making that movie of that, of, how would I say, what would be the word here, of such horror, like based on I think that like they kind of cursed themselves from the beginning. So it just I can believe, because seeing the movie, to film something that extreme, and the details and everything that occurred, wow,
and I mean, my husband said they didn't need a priest, they needed an electrician. But
that is funny.
And a couple of quick facts about the actress who played Reagan, Linda Blair. She was actually not allowed to watch that movie because she was so young. So her parents did not let her watch it until she was older. Can you imagine?
That's right. She acted on it. She had all her makeup on, but she never saw the movie until she was older.
Later. She also said that movie kind of ruined her life, because she had a hard time finding roles where she wasn't being casted as a victim for some reason. And she said that film was a grueling process. It was grueling. They were like, she said the makeup would take sometimes up to 5 hours, and they would use a glue that would legit burn her skin.
Yes. So she went through a lot.
Also, the parts where you see them breathing out, like because it's cold and you can
Yes,
see
the like the cold air, the mist, like when you're outside in winter.
They actually were freezing that room like that, and she was wearing a thin gown. Everybody else on set was wearing coats and was well insulated, and she was freezing to death on that bed. And then the other thing that people didn't know is the mechanism that was used to make the bed bounce like that would bang up against her spine. And she was just like dealing with all this shit. So yeah, a lot of the things that people don't know.
That's all very interesting. That was crazy.
And now, our little story regarding the movie The Exorcist. Yes. So, where do we begin? Okay, so I'm going to just start it off. Interject where you can or where you want, because you were there.
Go ahead. Of course.
It was a long time ago. I was still a teenager. So I still lived in my mom's apartment, and I was still experiencing paranormal activities over there. Now, we were in your home in a different part of the state, and there was a lot of people there. I would say about 8 to 9 people. I don't remember why we were gathered there, but it was one of those Saturdays where everybody got together and, you know, you made dinner and blah, blah, blah. And I believe someone, maybe your husband at the time, brought...
Yes.
Yeah.
My ex-husband.
Hey, yeah, that's what I said at the time. Stephanie. And he said, "Hey, I got this movie. I think we should watch it," or something like that. And you and I looked at it and we were like, "Oh." We already had
we don't no, but okay.
And people, before we have seen this movie a lot. So it's not that we haven't seen it, it's that we had a hard time rewatching it.
Exactly. That's exactly it. It's the rewatching it. That was the thing. So he busts out that movie.
Right, busts out the tape, this VHS.
The VHS.
And I'm like, yo, I don't want to see this. But at the end, everybody's like, let's go watch it. So fine. All these Latinos sit around in a circle. All y'all already know about this paranormal shit, but y'all want to watch this movie, fine. So we popped the VHS in you know, the movie in the VHS player. Yes. We're sitting there. I'm positioned almost directly in front of the TV. Okay, so the movie's going, everything is fine. I'm still creeping out because I know what's coming. Everybody there has seen this movie too. This is not like they haven't seen it. Okay, so here we go. Things are starting to happen to Reagan. She's starting to slowly get possessed and all this stuff. And the VHS tape itself starts to jump. If y'all ever had a VHS, jumping means that the screen was kind of doing this. And it happened. It happened a lot when you watched VHS. There was something called tracking that you had to fix.
Yes.
Get, like, static. And
exactly.
All these things started happening. And we're like, what the fuck? Like, is this just...
like, we're not supposed to be watching this.
Right. And that's what's going through my head. And then all of a sudden, it starts making noises. And then it stops.
Yes. It started making such weird noises coming out of the VHS player. And I'm like really creepy ass noises. We're like, okay.
And we're looking at each other. And I'm here looking at your ex-husband like, you motherfucker. And then before I can curse anybody out, that motherfucking tape flies out of the VHS. And I'm not saying, to me, it felt like it flew. But I'm pretty sure it was just ejected. Like, it ejected and
it just flew out.
Yeah, it just flew out and it slid across the floor and landed right next to my foot. I was like, ah! And your ex-husband grabbed that VHS and ripped out the insides. And it was...
We're like, that's it. We ain't watching this film. So that was creepy shit. And when we'd say it flew straight, like aimed, and then it just slid.
It just slid, and I just happened to be the one sitting
right in front of you. I like
it was like boom. Ah!
Exactly. Not only did it fly directly with a purpose, but it's then when it fell, it slid across. And mind you, this is not it wasn't like a slanted
Floor.
floor or anything that would have made, like, once it landed, then it slid.
As a matter of fact, that floor wasn't even a glossy type floor.
No, it wasn't.
Okay,
exactly.
Slide like that. So
exactly. It wasn't like a slippy, glassy floor that would be like, oh yeah, that's just the floor. It slipped. No, yes. I'm telling you, it landed and then it slid. Like, hello.
Like, y'all didn't know.
I would never forget that. Ever forget that day. And because he just got up, he grabbed it, he was like, I was like, it's over.
It's over.
And nobody gonna watch this film.
Listen, we told them. We told everybody. We warned people.
We did.
And I mean, clearly, not everybody. I think most people who watched The Exorcist did not experience anything. But I think because in our household, we were going through that. I was still going through that. You weren't, because you weren't there anymore. But for whoever was still living there, my mom was there. She was at your house. I was there. I feel like we were just dragging stuff with us.
I know, like everyone, like around, like luggage.
Like luggage, yes, like luggage.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but anyhow, that, people, was our episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got scared. And don't forget, if you like what you're watching, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button. Please drop me a comment. I would love to know what you guys really think about the paranormal, because right here, we believe this shit 1000% because we've experienced it. And
that's why we don't play with no Ouija boards and none of that stuff. No. We don't visit them places like Santeria. No, never.
I'm scared. So
no, don't do it. Don't do it, because you're just asking for trouble.
I'm not gonna do it. I feel like because we already had these things, we might be susceptible to pick other shit up, and I'm just trying to avoid that at all costs, because I haven't had any paranormal experiences whatsoever since moving.
Yep.
And I want to keep it that way. So and the next episode is gonna be me and Anna talking about our scariest fucking paranormal experience that we have had individually, not together, living at mommy's house, and y'all are not going to want to miss it. So make sure you tune in next Saturday as well. That is it, people. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.